Hey guys, it's me, Pokemon. I'm back, and as you guys can tell, it's the tier list setup. But today I'm not going to do a tier list. I have a new graphic coming out to you guys that I'll be updating monthly. So now every month, now of course I'm going to be going off to college next month. Going to kind of affect the way I do videos and how things get put out. But essentially, every month there should be 3 graphics coming out for me: my tier list, my team tier list, and then I'm going to start doing this Blitz team list. So there are some people who have done Blitz lists before in the community. There's somebody that has done the sure to win. Casino has the sure to win Blitz team list, but I wanted to provide something different. His seems to more focus on combining teams and making, maybe 20 really good teams that you can depend on. I instead wanted to focus on the fact that you could spread out the roster and how many competent teams you could make out of a whole roster. So right here, there's a little disclaimer here because again, I'm gonna change my approach to Red. Instead of uploading, I'm making a post for each individual video. I'll make a post with all 3 graphics in it once I'm done in the month. Murdered as much by Reddit. But anyways, so as you can see right here, here's the disclaimer. This list is meant to show a roster built for maximum teams, for maximum win chance, condense these teams. But I still did note the chance for these teams to win. The green is these teams should win, assuming you go in the right matchup. Assuming you're not silly with it and you play it smart and you make sure you're going against the right team. Like for example, the Guardians. This team could win most engagements, but if you're gonna go against a Phoenix team, I don't know if they're gonna win that. But I'd still consider them a reliable team. You just can't just go put them against anybody and call it a day. Yellow means you need to be a little more picky about who you're fighting. For example, the mercenaries, I think they're a little squishy. You need to be careful sometimes about who you're going to be going up against, and just a little worried about that. And then red, this seems kind of bad, but I did note them because they are a team you can use. Like for example, right here, this red team, if you really wanted to, if you want to condense this to have more optimal winning teams, you could take Vision, Ant-Man, Crossbones, and Wasp and put them with Ultron, and you would turn this team that's still pretty good because it has Ultron to a very, very good team, because then it would have 4 characters that actually do something instead of these 4 characters that don't really do anything. Just something to note right there. So that's the idea of condensing these teams and making them a little better. Like the Fantastic Four, you could take Invisible Woman, put her on any other team. She would be very helpful and improve that team significantly. Just some things to know. Also, you're going to see some stars to the right of some characters. That means that character is really significant to that team. I don't think you should run the team if you do not have that character. So like Phoenix for X-Men, you really need Phoenix. Black Bolt for Inhumans, you really need him. Magneto for the Brotherhood, you really need him. Etc., etc. But you're going to see some teams that don't have a star, like for example, Supernatural, Power Armor, those kind of things. I don't think those characters are really too dependent on any singular character. That's why I don't note the stars. I just want to add that there. If you're a veteran, you obviously knew those characters were critical to the team. But if you're newer, you might not have known that kind of stuff. So I wanted to make sure to include that, so you don't go and run the Black Order without Thanos, because that's kind of a key player there. So just little things like that maybe help you better understand how these teams work and who the anchor is. These teams are not arranged in the right, left to right, for optimal placement for AoEs and stuff like that. If you ask me, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I don't even know if it's that much of a difference if it's not. But and on top of that, there are difference of opinions as to how to arrange these teams. Sometimes, generally, you put the tanks on the outside because for AOE's, that means they'll hit less people as opposed to the tank being in the center of everyone and then AOE hitting everyone next to the tank. But yeah, I don't worry too much about placement. Only sometimes it could actually significantly affect your gameplays with characters like Star-Lord or Thanos, where they give energy to adjacent allies. So then you do need to be a little careful about them, but otherwise, don't worry that much about placement, I feel. You're also going to notice to the right of each of these teams, I have an alternate. This is not the only alternate you could possibly use here, but I do think, this is one of the better ones, and I want to make sure to only use each character as an alternate once. So, they're just a little thing to note right here. Just examples of characters you could sub in. If you need more than 1 or 2 characters to sub in, I wouldn't be running the team, because at that point, what's the point of running the team? You don't really have the team if you need to sub in more than 1 or 2 characters. But I did include an alternate just in case you don't have these full teams built. So let's zoom in a bit and I'll take a better look at these teams in analyze. Black Order, very straightforward team. X-Men, straightforward. Inhumans is very straightforward. Asgardians, Brotherhood, straightforward. These are all straightforward teams right here. Only thing to note is some stars. You know, again, Red Skull, very important to Hydra. He's the one, he gives the revive to them. Without Red Skull, you know, you kind of struggle a little bit. So I wanted to make sure to note that. That's really the only thing to really point out here. These are all kind of obvious teams. You know, just look at the tag, build the team. Down here, these are also very obvious teams right here. Shield is where it gets a little interesting. Technically, Medic is better than Trooper, but since she's better than Trooper and the Fury Shield team is already pretty competent, what you can do is you could sub in Trooper, that team can still perform well, and then you can pull Medic out and she can really help out a team that needs it, like an Avengers team right here with Coulson. So just kind of an interesting thing to note. AIM, I kind of consider putting some stars on these characters, but I don't think any one is critical to the team. I think Scientist Supreme and Graviton are obviously pretty important, but I don't know if they're like, and I don't know. I didn't feel they were gold star worthy, any of them, which isn't a bad thing. Guardian's pretty straightforward. I do run Gamora instead of Mantis, but if you did want to stretch your roster out to the max, you should put Mantis in there and put Gamora on like a Brawlers team or something like that. This is pretty straightforward. Namor, if you haven't seen my other video, it's kind of big brain, I think, putting Namor in there. They changed a lot of their synergy to mutant villains. If you don't have Invisible Woman or Emma Frost, you could probably put Namor in as a 5th member. He's not as good as Kingpin or somebody like Hand Sentry, but Namor can do pretty well in this team because he is a mutant villain. He has a lot of synergy there, and then it means you could save Kingpin or Hand Sentry for another team. So kind of a, I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but I wanted to point that out here in this video. That's my claim to fame right there. The Kree, in case you don't know, the idea is you put Kree Cyborg with this Ultimus, Captain Marvel, Minerva, Karath team. That's what you should do. In terms of the minion to sub in, I just picked, I don't know, so I'd pick the tank. You could probably put any other minion instead of Cyborg or anyone else here, if you really wanted to. This team's kind of interesting now. I took Miles Morales out of it because obviously he should go in the Young Avengers now. That it has a higher priority than the Spider-Verse team right here. But so this weird 5th slot. I don't know. You could probably put a Brawler in there or something like that. But then I have Miles Morales as an alternate. If you don't have the Young Avengers team, you could just still put him in there like a normal team. This team I wouldn't run unless you have Invisible Woman. She is pretty important to it. In terms of a 5th member to sub in, honestly, there's no real good member to sub in. I just put Spider-Man there. Mercs, I put Kingpin here. I just think Kingpin's an excellent substitute for this team. Provides some much needed durability. Young Avengers, I didn't color in yet because I don't know how well they're going to perform. We'll probably get a better idea of them later this month, and then that'll be when I post this thread, and I'll fill in this block probably around then. Right now I think Captain Marvel's the best 5th member to put on that team though, but again, you can put any Brawler there if you're running this team. There's a mishmash tech team right here. I don't know, this might perform well. I just noticed we had a lot of leftover tech characters, so I put him on a team, and I put the Hydra Grenadier because he was also tech. Unfortunately, Winter Soldier's not tech. I wanted to put him on that team. Then we have Ultron. Ultron could carry any team, so I just put a bunch of garbage characters with Ultron. Hand, you might be able to win something with Hand, but I did put Kingpin on that team because I think that team needed the most, and I think they had a potential being saved with Kingpin. There's no saving the Ravagers. They're just garbage. So yeah, there's the Ravagers right there, bottom tier. Don't even, they're just there. I wanted you to know that you could build that team if you wanted to. They're just so bad. So let's go back to view and let's zoom. Let's fit that. So as you can see, this is the overall tier list. I'll have this uploaded on my Discord server. Actually, it's up there right now. Not this version, but an older version. I did put it out there to people to look at. So if you ever do need this and you're watching this video, you can join my Discord server, which is linked all over the place on my YouTube channel. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. If you want me to add anything to it, I'm not going to add mode specific or anything because this is meant for Blitz. This is meant to, you're looking at your team, you're like, quick, I want to build. How many teams we got here? 27 teams out of my roster. You know, who do I put where? And this is to help you build those teams. And I really enjoy making lists like this. This is pretty fun. But at the end of the day, what do I really know? Because I am only an 18-year-old. I'm probably going to have a happy and healthy day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Signing off, everyone.